And we stay broadly with the theme of Mother's Day with Anna Manahan, actor who died earlier this month. We'll be featuring her varied career in next Sunday's programme. This morning, her indebtedness to her mother, indeed her parents.
She lived to a good age, didn't she?
To 89. She
89.
was extraordinary.
Anna Manahan from an interview when playing in Bernard Farrell's Happy Birthday, Dear Alice in Dublin.
And my niece Michelle Manahan, who's an actress, told me the first night that she was crying because she thought my performance was to honour my mother. It was, like she said, my nanny, who was my mother. She said she shook her fist in defiance in her later years against all that life threw at her, because she had a very debilitating illness. She couldn't speak anymore. When she couldn't speak, she tried to la-la music. She tried to dance. And our priest said that there was a 33-year-old woman looking out of her eyes. So I think there's a lot of that in the performance. But everyone tells me they see their mother. Maura O'Neill, the Abbey, told Bernard Farrell she saw her mother. I think Bernard has put elements of mothers into it.
Yes.
But it isn't only the mother, it's Alice's spirit is undying. I feel, no matter how slow she's become in her movements, that tremendous gushing spirit is there.
This is from an Arts Show interview with Mike Murphy.
Alice is unique, and I would say the audience's faces are shining with happiness. One man said to Jim Nolan, the artistic director of Red Kettle in Waterford, I not only enjoyed the play, I was happy afterwards. And it's my own feeling, Mike, that audiences have been ignored.
In the theatre?
I think so.
Do you really?
I do. The old thing that Hilton, the play, it was to do with the audience as well as us. Oh yes, you have play games with the audience sort of thing, you know, these kind of workshoppy plays. But even in England, I read where the audience, they're going off elsewhere, they've been alienated. You get great theatre, but it's people substituting God for art, and they're finding themselves and they're exploring themselves, and they're forgetting those people out there.
Are you talking about the directors and the actors?
I'm talking about the whole thing, well, the whole way it's done today. So much of it, oh yes, we must have great art, but they have been so ignored. And I think that Bernard Farrell doesn't do this.
That's right.
And I feel that here it is in this play. Nobody said to them, we're going to play games, but the audience anticipation is extraordinary, because there is that flow going out and coming back to us. And because that's happening, I know why I'm in the theatre.
Sure.
It's because of that.
Aren't there some playwrights, though, some contemporary playwrights, like John B. Keane, like Hugh Leonard, like Bernard Farrell, who do cater for the audience? Isn't
Absolutely.
Right?
I would say Hugh Leonard, definitely, and John B. Keane, definitely.
They do, don't they?
And
let me ask you, as you said there now, there was a woman in the audience who took your hand at the end of the play. For an actress, very often actors and actresses find it difficult to relate on an ad-lib basis to an audience. I mean, that they don't have a script. They don't... they're very self-conscious if they have to use their own words and not a performer's. Are you saying that in this one, you actually feel you could have a chat with the audience?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, and do. Because you know the structure of the Andrews Lane, that the foyer is the bar as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are there when you come out, and you do. And they talk about their families, and they tell you about how they had to put their mother or their aunt into it, and they talk about all that. I hear these stories every night.
In the series Going Home, Anna Manahan revisited her childhood home in Waterford with Brenda Donoghue.
I was born here, and I had such a happy childhood and young life in Waterford. I never wanted to leave it, and if I could have been an actress and lived in Waterford, that would have been my happiest thing. I had a wonderful family, and there was nothing but joy in this house. Songs around the piano and people visiting, because in those days that was the big thing. People visited one another. They'd have an evening in such and such a person's house, and this street was full of neighbours. And in the summer the families would get together and we'd hire a fishing boat and we'd all go down to Duncannon, or hire a hackney car and we'd go out to Manahan. It was a wonderful neighbourliness.
And what about your mum, Anna?
My mum was wonderful. She was a great communicator. She always had a house full of people. Great chat, and we had the sofa in the drawing room, which was all upstairs, And it's called Heartbreak Corner because all the girls would be coming in to tell their romances. And one particular girl who wanted her boyfriend back, she had us all out on the stairs kneeling before an altar praying to Our Lady. And we all stuffing our faces with handkerchiefs, you know. It was just laughter. She loved people and Daddy adored her, so he didn't care how full she made the house. I arrived once with a young one off the train. He said, "Mammy, this girl is after missing the boat. And can we put her up?" "Oh, bring her in, girl." So any of the sort of openness I have comes from these two amazing parents who and nobody had much money in those days. But I ponder about them now when I know people are busy, but they're sticking their kids in front of computers and switching on the switch. But my parents had imagination, and I think that's what made us the way we are.
And also in the Going Home programme, Anna Manahan paid tribute to the nuns who taught her in Waterford. When that programme was being recorded, she talked with a nun aged 92 when the programme was being made, who could remember Anna Manahan as a schoolgirl and her early interest in theatre.
She taught me in my senior years.
This was at the Mercy Convent in Waterford.
She had such vitality. She imbued every subject she did and everything to do with life.
What was her name? Sorry for interrupting.
Redemptoris. Mm-hmm. She made everything very exciting. She was an inspirational nun, tremendous charisma. And I went to school at 6 and left at about 17, and not too long afterwards I went to Dublin to train as a professional actress, so that a major part of my life is wrapped up in this school.
And how did they feel about you being an actress? Was that frowned upon by the nuns? Was it encouraged? Was it not talked about?
No, the extraordinary thing was that period to have nuns encourage a pupil to become an actor. They did everything to help me, even contacting RADA, you know, so that I could do a scholarship, but the war years were on and my parents wouldn't let me go. It was an exceptional schooling. It was an all-round thing of culture, of art, music, dancing, and the nuns took such an interest in the girls. No girl left the school without a job.
And was it encouraged? Do you know what I mean? Did they encourage a career for a woman?
Yes. You see, the original Mother Superior trained under Madame Montessori, and this was the first school to bring in that sort of teaching, and came through that particular nun because of her training from Madame Montessori.
I think your sister Redemptress now.
Oh my goodness, Sister Redem, how are you now?
How are you?
Well, it's great to see you.
Goodness me. Oh, you have been wonderful all the years. You have never, ever, ever forgotten us.
How could I, Sister Redem, because you were
been
such an input
with
into my life. And I was telling the girls how Mother Philomena she'd give me books on theatre during the English lesson.
Oh, yes.
I'd have a book on theatre on my desk.
Yeah. Well, she had a love for you.
Well, and I'm sure it's lovely to see these wonderful nuns who've influenced you so positively in your life. When you were in school, and obviously you were good at acting, did you ever play act or try and get out of situations by maybe being a little bit more dramatic than you should have been?
No, I don't think I did that. No. I didn't look for notice, I didn't do that.
One of your friends pinpointed your career very early on. Can you tell us that little story, Anna?
I went to visit Sister Eucharia, one of the community. Indeed, she was very ill, but she showed me a book in which she had recorded all sorts of things to do with the classes that had passed through her hands. And she showed me this poem in which a school friend of mine, Maura Rowe, had written a verse about all her fellow pupils. And she had put down on mine a verse about how I would be an actress, that she really believed I would be, because we wanted to be Sonia Henney, the ice skating star, and we wanted to be this, that. But I always said I wanted to be an actress. So I guess I was destined to be one.